So as a formality, who's doing the edit? Is it me this week? I kind of felt it today.
I think it's me, isn't it?
It's not me, at least.
You. All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
I mean, you can do it if you want. I'm not going to stop you.
No. I felt a disturbance in the force, but then it was wrong, so it's okay.
Are we going to keep count of all the Star Wars references?
Oh, someone's going to have to.
I do have a counter here somewhere, so maybe we should. So yeah.
Is it one of those good old-fashioned, like, clicky ones? Like you're a museum guard?
Exactly. We joked about it, and then I got my wife one because she said something like if she got like $1 for every time someone said mom, then she would be a millionaire. And then I thought maybe we should count for an entire day, but it just goes to 4 digits, so it wasn't enough.
You need a better counter or to be pestered more.
Are those mutually exclusive?
Well. But once we have that out of the way, this is then episode 137 then of the Make Crude Mistakes podcast. And I'm guessing for our 2 listeners that they know at least 3 of us, but we are 4 today. We have a guest.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
So, Melina, just diving straight into it. Who are you?
Hey. Yeah, I'm Melina. I also like to make things. And I like Star Wars.
Oh yeah. You like Star Wars.
Yeah, I heard you guys liked it too.
Yes. We have noticed and assumed that you were a Star Wars fan from your social media accounts, and then at least me and KJ, we have met you before at Skaperfestivalen in Oslo, talking a bit about cosplay and that interesting realm that we have, or at least no, maybe not dipped our toes in, but we have talked about cosplay before, and your name came up. Like, okay, maybe we should discuss cosplay on one episode, and then now we have May the 4th coming. I mean, when this episode airs on Saturday, it's just a few days away. So we thought it was only fitting to have the Jedi Librarian as a guest.
Very nice to be invited.
Yeah. Very nice to have you on board.
So what came first, the Jedi or the Librarian for you?
The Librarian. I used to have another name, more of a superhero thing. And I've figured out that the Jedi thing was a bit more fitting.
No, it's nice when you can define a lot of things with a simple word, because everyone understands what it is about.
But if I Google Jedi Librarian, then of course on Wikipedia and various Star Wars sites, it seems like there is a character.
Yes.
So was that an inspiration, or where did the librarian part come from?
Yeah, she's Yakusta Nu is one of my favorite Star Wars character. And I always thought that if I ever was to be in Star Wars, I would just be the same. I would just be a librarian in that universe too. So
you always need librarians.
Yeah, you do. And the librarians do play a big part in Star Wars. And I think they need more attention. And
I think
also, she beats Darth Vader in the fight once, so she's kind of cool. She blasts him in the
that's
comic.
nice.
Yeah, so she's hardcore.
But I guess it's the same with Star Wars as in normal life, that you don't really see what the librarians do, because the only, librarians work mostly in the, not in the dark. That sounds weird and bad, but I mean,
Yeah. Well,
librarians are more readily available if you need something, and you don't really understand how useful they can be until you try. It's my experience.
we usually know where the things you want to know are. So you want something about that topic, I know where you can find it.
I feel there is a slight crossover there. When I worked for the Directorate of Cultural Heritage, we have our own like an archive department, and you had several people working there, and they have studied as I'm not sure what the study is called in English, but they've studied to become people working with archives. And I feel a librarian it's the same base skill level of knowing what things are that other people would like to know. But there is like a public, working in a library is different than working in an archive. In an archive, it's more like working in the dark, I feel like KJ said. But as a librarian, you also have to be involved with people, I guess.
Yeah. I always say when you have different kind of librarians, and when people say they want to be quiet, read books, don't have to interact with people, I said then you shouldn't be a librarian.
That's an archivist.
Yeah, we interact a lot with people, even in different kind of library profession. You are basically, you always have to talk to people.
That sounds awful. When I think of archivist, I think of, at the end of, my brain is really mushy today. It's an Indiana Jones film.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah. I see archivists like that, just people in long brown coats moving things around a very dark warehouse. I'm sure it's a bit more modern these days.
Yeah.
But I could do that job. Move this thing from here to over there. Catalog it, stamp it, forget about it.
Yeah, and then you have to have a system so you can find it again when someone asks.
Oh, yeah. That sounds right up my street. Cataloging, standardized boxes. Love it.
Did they have a system, though, in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
It didn't feel like it.
Were the boxes numbered? Did we see a number?
I think it seemed a little bit haphazard, maybe for the magic of cinema.
Yeah. Because I remember then, back when I worked in the Directorate of Cultural Heritage, they wanted to move all the archives from the different departments and directorates to like a national archive that they have established. And of course, in that process, they were scanning the entire archive. They did this over several years. So there was this company coming in, and they were just taking out batches from the archive and just scanning them into PDFs. Not searchable PDFs, no. So they just scanned them, and they just wrote as a heading for the file in the metadata, whatever stood on that yellow binder that was around every like set of documents. And the people who has worked there for 30 years in the archive, they knew exactly. So if I wanted some information on a vessel, I could just talk to one or two, and then like, yeah, I remember something. It wasn't cataloged as a boat, but it was in a project. They worked on it, so it's under here. And they could find anything that I was looking for. But after they just scanned it and digitized it and moved the physical archive to the National Archives down in a dark bunker, very much like Raiders of the Lost Ark, I can imagine, then we couldn't find anything unless it was stated on the front page of the folder that held the documents that this is what it contains. Then we were lost. So several hundred years of documents they are safe for the future, but nobody anymore knows what's in there, and it's not searchable. So it's that's government for you.
I mean, the archivist gnomes, those small men and women had to follow the archive to actually make it work. I mean, those were the search engines of the day. Those people knowing where everything was. And I think that's the same in everything that's... I mean, I work in power distribution, and a lot of the documentation and that sort of thing from like the 70s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, that was just in the heads of people who are now dead or retired since long gone. So, I mean, that's all lost. No one knows what anything is anymore.
Yeah, any system is only as good as the retrieval, isn't it?
Yes.
I know some of the librarians at where I work who have an absolute hatred of the Dewey system. I said, yeah, it works, but there's got to be something better.
And you have different kind of system like Dewey, and some are better, some are worse, and some works for like the public library, and then you have different kind of libraries where Dewey doesn't work that good.
Is Dewey the least bad for everything?
Yeah.
Is that why it's used?
It's terrible, but it's not as terrible as other things.
When it has to do everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not really the system itself, but it's an older system, so some of the classification doesn't really hold up today.
Yeah, of course. It needs to be updated as well.
Yeah, and they have updated a lot. So they have made it better. But they have like sexual orientation was placed under a category they really shouldn't for a while, but that's a bit more general health these days. So it's some kind of old, the old shadow of old still lingering about.
I tried to read up on it at some point many years ago, and I just fell off, and I remember nothing. But is it up to a person where to categorize a book, or is it obvious where it should go? I mean, a cookbook, is that like, should it be there, or should it be under? Could someone said, "Oh, this should be more under the philosophical question because he's not really a chef; he's just a TV personality," and then it's stored somewhere else?
It depends about what's the point of the book. I just saw a book now about cod, the fish. And you should think that book should be under like animals, but it's not, because it's the culture impact about the fish. So they put it under social studies instead. So it's more the theme of the book itself, not. So if it's a cultural cookbook, how does food impact people in this and that country, it may not be with the older cookbooks where you learn how to bake a cake.
So then the question is, when did they, I was going to say discover, but when did they come up with the Dewey Decimal System? Or is it an old system, or is it like recently where they realized, with all this technology, librarians might go out of fashion, so let's find an intricate system that no search engine can use and nobody will understand but us, so then we keep ourselves relevant.
Job security through obscurity.
We do have tasks at library school when we have to make system like that for our own. So I think everyone has system at home, like in their own bookshelves. So it's
of
not
course.
that complicated. But when it's such a big and complex things, you have to have some structure on things.
I mean, my system for my bookshelf would not scale well for a library this size for public use.
No, my book cataloging system is there's a space on that shelf, so it goes there.
I always say,
look at the pain in your eyes.
Yeah, I always say you do your books the way you want to, and then I like biting my fists and go home crying. It looks so pretty on social media with your color-coded books.
Oh no, that's I'm colorblind. I'm happy to. So that would never work for me.
Mine are vaguely, loosely collected by type, fiction, non-fiction, but that's about it.
I haven't dared to ask. I'm married. My wife, she works in publishing, and the house is filled to the brim with books, it feels like, and I at least can't see a system. I don't dare to say that out loud, but it looks like there's a pile books I need to read, books I have read, and then there's the books that I reread for comfort when I just want to read but don't want to use my brain. So I'm not sure if that is a category that's valid outside of this house. But
you do have a lot of like really cheap programs now, so you can just buy yourself a barcode reader and scan your books, and you can make your own library system at home. So if you need to find your book at home, so you can
I do not need that, but that would be very satisfying to have it.
I was about to say, KJ is twitching, aren't you?
I can see the light bulb going off there. It's like, I don't need that, but I want it.
Yeah.
Just the completionist in me, just to have everything cataloged and nice. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, this sounds like a lot like we're just talking work with Melina, even though we think it's really interesting. So maybe she thinks that it's work. And I mean, as we said in the beginning, this is a podcast about making. So maybe we should talk a bit more about that. And I mean, you're making, Melina. Is it very much cosplay focused? Is that always where you start?
Yeah, I love to knit stuff, always knitting everything. And if I don't knit, I sew and make things for cosplay. But the knitting is more like everyday wear. So I always have to make something. Keeping busy. And I think that's also because people think that librarians read a lot, and we do. But when I come home, I don't really want to think about work, so I need something else to occupy with.
Yeah, but I mean, people who work with their minds relax with their hands, someone said.
Oh,
so
that was a good one.
So I guess I mean, that you can see that all over the maker community, I feel. The one who doesn't work with making something physical, we very much have an itch to scratch when we get home.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have filled your need for knitted sweaters and scarves and that sort of thing then?
Nah, can always make more.
Yeah. My wife knits a lot, so I think she's reached the limit of the sweaters she needs. So now it's just the sweaters she wants.
I feel her. Always something you want to do.
I always need to do something with my hands, so I thought about learning knitting other than just the square pieces that you use for handling hot pants and whatnot. I could see myself learn how to knit socks, because as a Norwegian, you always need the woolly socks during the winter. And then if I'm in a meeting, or as now doing a podcast, I'm always using a pen and I'm scribbling down on paper and drawing and whatnot, but I can't wear that on my feet. So maybe I could practice enough knitting socks that I don't have to think about it. Then you can just automatically just put out a couple of socks every other week.
I can just imagine just in the podcast, just ticking away.
That it's a weirdly comforting sound, that the ticking of the that's the sound of my childhood without thinking about it. Yeah.
Same. My mother was a prolific knitter, but she always took a very long time to finish things. So I'd get measured up for a jumper, and by the time the jumper was finished, I'd grown out of it. But I remember I did ask her to try and to teach me once how to knit, and I considered that after about a couple of hours, this is just clearly witchcraft, and I'm never going to get it.
I think it was Adam Savage who did a reel recently where he was doing some sewing, and he almost concluded the same thing, because with fabrics, it's you have to think in reverse and inside out, and you have to prepare for all the steps ahead of you. You can't just, I'm going to do this and figure out what I'll do the next step later, because you can screw up one step so that the next one won't be possible in ways that I have not encountered in any other making realm.
And a really fun fact about knitting is that during World War II, you weren't allowed to export and import knitting patterns because it's so easy hiding codes in the pattern. And it's code that you don't really see before you have knitted the complete garment. So they just put a complete ban on knitting pattern.
The Enigma cipher was actually in a knitting pattern.
Yeah, and you can find a lot of those patterns with codes online as well.
Right.
I mean, the Enigma machine, it is a better movie title than the Marius sweater, but I heard, I think it was another podcast where they talked about the patterns of these traditional Icelandic woolen sweaters that the fishermen used, because they have a simple pattern around the belly, because there is where you have a lot of wear and tear, so it's easy to fix. But on the upper body, they're using a different technique, so it's thicker to hold on the core temperature, but also with enough spacing in between to let hot air and sweat come out. So it's like the patterns that we use today, and all right, I would like a sweater like that because that is the traditional pattern. But at some point, someone actually planned the patterns, not because they looked good, but because they actually have a function. And that blew me away, because nobody told me that before. So
if you make a sweater with like 3 colors, it will be much warmer because you have all 3 yarns together around and around the sweater. So you got really 3 layers as well.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And if you are a lot at sea, if you are a fisherman and want a fisherman sweater, everyone has different braidings. So if you get lost at sea and no one can identify you, they will know it's you because of the pattern on your sweater.
That's morbid, but
yes,
practical.
Because the sweater keeps better in the water than your face. So,
I watched a video fairly recently about old-timey sailor tattoos and what they meant, and a lot of it boiled down to basically identifying marks in a similar sort of way. That if you washed up, if you had basically your tattoos would tell someone who you were or where you came from.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people dying at sea at that time, so every marker is good.
But they had good tattoos and nice sweaters, so.
Yeah. So knitting, a lot more complicated than the sort of cutting and sticking things together that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, because I mean, you can always see the things that are similar to others. I mean, I always think of sewing as adjacent to welding, because you spend a lot of time cutting the pieces and measuring and fixing everything together, and then you do the welding, or you push it through the sewing machine, and then it's done. So it's a lot of pre-work, and as long as you do that correctly, then you get something good at the end. Yeah. But I don't really know what else is.
A predecessor from knitting is needle binding, which they did in the Viking Age, which is more of a knot. You use knots. So it's basically the same technique as you do when you make like fishing nets. So you use like a big wooden flat needle, and you make the knots around and round and round. So yarn. Yeah.
Is that a bit like crocheting?
Yeah, it's and you can't unravel it. Like with knitting, you can just take the thread and take everything apart. But in needle binding, since it's knotting, you can't really unravel it in the same way.
So then the question is, what came first, the sweater or the fish net? Did they invent
the fish nets? Yeah.
Yeah, so someone said, "Oh, this would be nice to wear if the holes wouldn't be so big. So they just like let us make the holes smaller, and then now we have some garment." So, okay, fishnet first, sweater later.
Yeah. History, it's fun. I think that textile history, it's a little bit underrepresented because it's not as fun as like big weapons going boom boom, and since it's basically been a woman's profession, I think lots of the history of textiles has been forgotten over the years.
There's a really good podcast. Sorry to big up other people's podcasts. There's a really good podcast called Articles of Interest, which basically looks at the entire history. They'll look at like one thing and then look at the whole history of that one thing, like a pair of jeans, or the last one I listened to was a whole series. It was 5 episodes about the M42 field jacket from the Vietnam era war, and just where it came from, how it was created, how it was the military saying, no, we don't want any more really heavy wool overcoats with big brass buttons on anymore. We want something that's light and efficient and can have a liner zipped in to keep us warm, but we can take it out if it's really hot and we're in the jungle. We don't want a wool coat. So that's worthwhile listening to.
Cool.
There will be a link in the show notes, dear listener.
As long as Phil provides me with one.
I'll write that down somewhere. Grabbing a post-it note now.
But I haven't reflected much upon it before I started buying fabric for various projects, like how expensive it is. And then, of course, that's the fun thing with working in the Directorate of Cultural Heritage, because you have a lot of people working there with different professions. You have people who works with church organs and churches, and then you have people working with old traditional crafts, and then you have the industrial part of it where they try to keep the old factories alive so that you can actually show how they were working. And in Norway, we have a couple of still running factories who make fabric. So they do like small custom runs. And of course, I think it's in one of the old residents here in Oslo that belongs to the king. They had some old tapestry that started to fade, so they should replace it. And then I realized that factory has made that tapestry before. And then, of course, then it was a collaboration between people in the archives trying to figure out, do we have any information on the pattern that the people who make the fabric and set up the machines can make. So they spent a lot of money making tapestry. They needed it for one wall, but of course it took them several hundred Norwegian currency money to to set up this machine, and they made a lot of this, so they now have like in storage for the next time they need to do it. But it kind of gives you the appreciation for fabric and how much it costs, because it is, even making it today, it's a complicated process. You could say you have a factory that makes it for you, but setting it up and the people having to run the place, and so it is understandably a very complicated process for us to just go and buy some fabric and cut it up and make a costume or some workshop related paraphernalia. So then how did you go from knitting to cosplay? What's the
Yeah, good question. I like to knit since I was a kid. My grandmother taught me. So I've kind of always knitted. So I think it was just an interest in making stuff. And then I wanted to make my own clothing. And then I was a theater kid, so we want to make costumes. So in the start, we had absolutely no idea that it was actually something called cosplay, that people did dress up as character. We just wanted to be cool and run around and pretend we're Batman and dress up for movie premieres. And then with the internet being that, when we got internet and stuff like that, we realized that more people did it, and then it just grew from there. Yeah. I always wanted to say that my first proper cosplay was from the premiere of Lord of the Rings, because it's really cool to say that, yeah, my first costume was an elf. But nah, it was from Men in Black 2. I wanted to be cool and have a suit and sunglasses. So that was like my first proper, I want to dress up like this character and go to the movie. So that was in 2002. Yeah.
That's much more fun than Lord of the Rings, I would say.
I mean, it could be worse than Men in Black.
Men in Black 2 also. It was the first one.
Yeah, let's just skip the first one and go straight to the sequel. Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, it just didn't stop.
But isn't that scary when you make a big thing for the premiere of the second part in a movie series? You don't know if the movie is going to be good.
Oh, yeah, totally. And we had absolutely no idea what we were doing. I remember that, like, the first Lord of the Rings premiere, and I did actually make an elf costume. Nobody told me to not use stretch fabric. We had some dirt cheap, like, thin, stretchy velvet. Totally fire hazard. It would have melted if you just looked at the candle. It fell apart. We had a big hole in it. It was a total catastrophe, but we had just so much fun. All of us. We were a group of nerdy kids dressing up with elf ears in public and having a blast. And it still is fun, all these years later.
As long as you have a crew, then you can live with anything.
Yeah. And I think that's also what's fun with cosplay when you dress up like that. It's really easy seeing other people's interests. Because if you are at a convention or a function or anything and see someone dressing up as the same character as you have something to talk about. So it's super easy making friends.
I've been playing with the idea of making a costume for cosplay. Of course, I've been into theater a long time as well, but it's something making like props or costumes for a one-time play, because then you take all the shortcuts, because you'd only have to look good in a distance from one side. At the back, you have the safety pins and whatnot, keeping it together for the 2 minutes it need to function. But the level that a lot of people put into the costumes for cosplay, and if you are at a convention and you're going to have to walk around, then you see the struggles with heat and whatnot, and you need to move around, and it need to not fall apart on you. And of course, people are spending easily up to a year before a convention to planning and making the costume. But I would struggle. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. I can't really decide. Do I want to go Firefly? Do I want to go Star Wars? Do I want to do Wallace and Gromit? I want to do them all, but I know it's going to take too much time. And if you make one costume, if you spend a year, it feels bad only using it for one convention. And all right, I'm going to do something completely different.
Yeah.
So how do you choose?
It seems like a cliche when you say the costume just come to you. I have been better. When I was younger, it was like, oh, shiny, I want to make this, I want to make this, I want to make this. And it burned me out a bit. And now also, since I have done it for so long, I have a lot of costumes. So now I can also use the same costumes for more. I can really take my time on the costumes. And I also think it was easier when we started in the early 2000s because our costumes were crap. They barely stuck together, and we used cardboards. We didn't have fancy stuff. We didn't really use YouTube to check for tutorials, so we have to just pray and have good hope the costumes stayed together with hope and good intentions, which it didn't. So hot glue and safety pins. And the level of people were the same, super talented celebrity cosplays hadn't really yet. It really wasn't a thing yet. So you also could just be really bad and still you didn't feel like you were. And now there are so many talented people. And it's easy to compare yourself with that. And I try to tell that to people just starting, and especially younger people. You don't need to be perfect. You just have to have fun. And upgrade your costumes on the next convention, make a new gadget for it next time. You just have to start somewhere. And also the really pro cosplayers, especially on TikTok now, they have done this for a long time. They have the skill set and they have the resources, so they can make cosplays on a completely different level than a person just starting out. So I would just say the most important thing is to have fun and not compare yourself to others. So just find something you would enjoy. And also, picking a costume is that people will talk about that character a lot when they see you. So just be ready to cosplay something that you can talk about for hours and not be sick of. I made Furiosa from Mad Max, and I saw the movie. I don't know how many times, hundreds and hundreds of hours, spending just watching pictures and watching the movies, and I'm still not tired of it though. I still love it.
It's a great character and a great movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To just be ready to spend a lot of time with that character.
I could see myself falling into that, making a Hellboy costume, because that is cool, and then people are coming up to me and talk about Hellboy, and I think I saw half the first movie, or to be fair, I've seen all the movies, but it sounds nice though. I do not know the cosplay scene, but it feels like I can confirm my suspicion to the maker community. And there is a saying that an entrepreneur will never judge you from trying something. And it's the same in the maker community. A professional prop maker will never talk you down for starting. They will then just be joyful that someone is like finding this field interesting, and then they will give you pointers and help you. And I feel that in the maker community, if I do like printing or something and someone says, I've done that, if you do this, that will not stick, but if you do this, then you might get a better result. So it's like sharing knowledge to become better, I feel, is a thing, rather than just alienating people who want to come in because, no, this is our thing and we don't want to share it.
Yeah, I also feel that.
I think that's a sort of trait of the middling person. They're not a beginner, but they're not a professional or someone that people look up to. And they can sort of get stuck in that place of, well, I know this, and well, if you don't know this, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Forgetting that at one point you were an idiot, with a craft knife and some glue and not really an idea. So, yeah.
I think also that the really like famous cosplayers is also the one who makes a lot of tutorials. They write books, they do YouTube videos, so they give their fans a little bit more than just the cool cosplay. So the like teaching people is also like a big part of the cosplay community.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to nurture the community that you want to be part of, because if you don't, then it might die. So if everyone does their part, then the community lives on. That's, if you want something, you have to nurture it. But do you feel when you watch, do you have some part of your brain when you take in new media that this could be a cosplay?
Oh yeah, all the time. My Pinterest board is just I'm going to make this someday.
So every time you see a movie, it's like, okay, if I was going to do this as cosplay, I would be this character. And then the second thought is, do I want to, or is it something else I want to do more?
Yeah, I have stopped movies halfway and like, up with the Pinterest board. Okay, need to start taking pictures. Yeah, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm going to watch the whole movie first.
And I can use this part from an old costume. And
yeah.
And then in the second to last scene of the movie, it turns out that the character you thought was cool was an asshole. And then like, no!
And I also like to yell at the TV because I can see that invisible zipper. That's not right. Pay your costume designer more so they can make proper costumes.
Oh, that's so fun, that. I mean, it's... After I started doing YouTube movies, and of course, also when you are looking at a play or something, and when you know how things work behind the curtain, it sometimes take the magic away. But I've found a way to switch it off, so I can watch a movie without thinking or looking for inconsistencies. And I see people pointing. It's like 10-hour movies out there where people are discussing continuity errors in The Lord of the Rings. And yeah, if you freeze the frame at 3 hours, 2 minutes, and then you can see there's a road there and you can see a car. So it's like, I just had to learn that skill to just, no, you can't be hung up in details when you're watching a movie. You have to like, make believe for yourself and just watch it.
Well, I suppose when you're making a film 40, we're old, aren't we? 50 years ago, no one would have thought that, maybe one day someone's going to be able to watch this again and again and again in super high definition and pause it and see all these tiny flaws. You're seeing this projected in the cinema. You might see it once, you might see it a couple of times if you really liked it.
Yeah.
But this thing, which is very obviously not finished or is a bit crap, well, it's fleeting and then it's gone, and no one's ever going to see it again. Cut to the glorious 4K restoration print, and someone's tearing it apart.
not everything was made for that. No.
No.
I mean, wasn't that a thing back in the day that you you knew that's both for movies, TV, and video games. You knew the resolution that people could view it, and then you didn't have to go into more detail, because if you made it a bit blurry, so to say, then the people watching it could add in themselves the lost pieces, because the brain is really good at adding in what's missing. But then you get even more. Then the character looks even more like you want it to. But if you have it in ultra high definition, then you have to say exactly what it looks like, and then maybe some people are put off by it.
Yeah.
This is a thing, and it's really, really far away. It just basically needs to be the right shape.
Yeah, and then you fill in what it is.
It's like the old, Donald Duck comics, like the pocket comics, where the first page is in color and the rest is black and white. So you can just imagine the colors for the rest of the book.
Or you can color it in.
That as well.
I totally forgot
Badly.
that. I did collect Donald Duck. I mean, a lot of Norwegians did at some point. It was the go-to comic for a lot of us in our childhood. But yeah, they were in black and white. I never reflected on that. It's like, no.
So, now you know what color it is, and now fill it in yourself.
Yeah, mentally make it that color. I was always disappointed when I first started reading comics, and then got into graphic novels, and then found this thing called the trade paperback, which was just, of the whole series or whatever, or a whole story arc compiled into one book, and think, oh, fantastic. It's all in black and white. It's rubbish. Very disappointed. So that's the reason it's a trade paperback. That's why it's so cheap, because it's printed in black and white.
Yeah.
I went to, this is many years ago, I went to a secondhand store just to browse for interesting things. And they had a comic section. And I stumbled over a comic. And I think, I might be remembering wrong, but I think it was in black and white. And it was called Bone. And I picked it up and I started looking at it, and this is amazing. So I paid like a nickel and a dime for it, and I brought it home and I started reading, and then some pages in is like, it feels like something is missing here, and then it just abruptly ended, because the Bone series, that's a huge, thick book, but they also made them into very smaller, like more digestible handheld paperbacks, is several parts, and I just realized I just got one part of it. So I then had to go to the comic store and ask for it, and then it comes in color as well. And that was, I read that one book and found that amazing in black and white, and then okay, you can get the full set in color. But I think I have that here somewhere. It's
both
one of those I don't throw away. Yep.
Oh, that's a thick one.
This is
Oh yeah, it's that edition. Yeah, because the one they sell now is like, I think it's nine books. Yeah, and you also in a smaller format, and you can get it in. You have it in color as well. They also have that in Norwegian also.
Yeah. Yeah, no, though this is the black and white one, but in English. So
you do know that there are also spin-offs. That there are 2 other Bone comics that I don't think it's in your collected edition there. Just so you know.
I think I saw them at some point, and I was a bit disappointed of I did not like that story. I think it's not the same as the original book, but I might not have read too much into it before, just put it away. Yeah, maybe I need to go back at the comic store to see.
Oh no, you're gonna have to go to the comic shop.
Oh no!
Oh, what a tragedy!
Yeah.
Oh, you have to buy comics.
Yeah.
Horror.
But if I remember correctly, you work with comic comics in some sense.
Yes,
You're involved in
I
the Comics Expo here in Oslo.
yes, I do work in a comic book library, so that's the thing I do. As a librarian, I work with comics, and then the comic book library also hosts Oslo Comic Expo. So yeah, so I do all the traditional library work, only with comics.
Cool.
So yes, that's cool. So when people tell me that children doesn't read, I was like, yeah, no, I don't see that. Kids love kids love the library, and adults
Yeah.
as well. No problem. People read. They will read a lot. You just have to give them what they want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if a kid doesn't like the library, it's just that they haven't found the section that's for them yet.
Yeah. So they come in and ask, yeah, we have 8,000 comics here. Do you want something? And it's like, do you have One Piece? I'm like, yeah. So,
I mean that is also. I feel that if you have kids today, you know the library because it's a magical place to bring kids, and there's
Yep.
so much more than books. But I also feel that some people that don't have kids and don't read as much, they have a very like. If you say you're into comics or that's a big thing, they're like, "What is that? Just Donald Duck, isn't it?" So I feel that the people who are having a stereotypical view of it, the only thing that they know about comics is the one you can get in your local co-op. And in Norway, that was usually Donald Duck in the 70s and the 80s. So if that is your only reference, you need to update your Rolodex, so to speak. So
and we do have a lot of grown-ups that like rekindle the love for comics that come in. Like, I used to read so much comic when I was a kid. What you got for me now? Because comics do get more attention, like in mainstream media now, with like the graphic novels, and they win awards. And Norway has a lot of great comic artists that do comics for adults as well. So a lot of people want to rediscover comics again. And those are always really fun to get into the library and like, here, just read this. Come back and get more tips. And so that is cool.
So when's the next expo then?
It's the 11th to 13th of June. So that's not far away.
That's eons away. That's
Yeah. We are doing the 5th touching on the program these days. So the stress level are high, and the spirits is also high. It's
That's
mean,
at
fun.
least.
It's going to be fun. So fun.
But looking at the calendar, I would say at least you are on track. I know people who arrange other kinds of expos or what you call it that start a lot later. So
We have started to announce the guests now, and we just need to do the final touches before we review our whole program. But what's really fun to make a expo or comic book convention at a library is that everything is free and everything is open for everyone. So you don't need to pay money to just be curious. So we do get a lot of audiences that doesn't really know anything about comics. And we also get makers and the creators and the fans. So we have a wonderful mix of people who just enjoys comic. And I think it's amazing that we have the opportunity to do something like that, to make a 3-day festival for comic books completely free for everyone. So libraries are great. Give us more funding.
yeah, I think
that sounds really good.
It's of course a correlation there because Skaperfestivalen in Norway is also held at a library, which makes it accessible to everyone and free. And the people that come there from outside of Norway, they're like kind of bamboozled by it a bit, because what, it's free, like there's no ticket, no nothing, and no, it's covered, it's like under the umbrella of the library, so it's cost free, and of course you get a lot of people in that are there for other things, but you also get a lot of people who go in, they wouldn't pay for it, but they stumble in because they are curious, and then some of them will realize, oh, this is really cool, and then they will just be into it from that point. So it's a great recruitment venue.
Yeah,
and it's really nice to have a comic thing that is that as well, because I mean, when you think of a comic convention, Comic-Con, of course, comes into mind, and that's like commercialism at its finest, and everything costs money, and that's, I mean, at least the small thing I've seen around the world, that people are trying to emulate that. So it's more mammon, more money driven. So it's really nice to have something that goes completely in the opposite direction instead.
Yeah, we do have a artist alley at Oslo Comic Expo where people can sell their comics.
Yeah, of course, but
that's outside the library, so you don't really need to spend any money unless you want to. But we also think that selling comics is a big part of it. But we do have a
our artist does need to get paid for their work.
Yeah,
of course.
And also we do have a comic book festival like Oslo Comic Expo for children, but there we don't allow sale at all. So that is no pressure to buy anything for the children. But since Oslo Comic Expo is for more of an adult audience, we do allow sales during the festival. So comic festival, it's fun.
How long has it been? Is it a new thing? Is it the old thing? Is it?
It's we have a 20th anniversary next year.
That's okay. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's got a good track record there.
Yeah. So I've been a festival manager for three festivals now. So I have taken over a really interesting and cool festival, and I have an amazing committee and crew helping as well, and my colleague at the comic book library as well. So we are a good gang doing this.
Nice.
It's been an awfully large responsibility, and I suppose if you're doing it right at the beginning, it's sort of very different from sort of picking something up, 16, 17 years later and going, right, here you go, here's all the things we've done before. Now it's yours.
Yeah.
Don't break it.
This has worked, this has not worked. If you're going to do this, find some other way to do it than this, because that ended terrible. That sort of thing.
And the people came before us did an amazing job doing this, starting the festival all those years ago and making it grow to be as big as it is. And then you are taking over it, and it's like, yeah, if I fuck up now, everyone gonna know it's me, because this has run for so many years. So, yeah, cool.
You don't want to be the person who killed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's got my face on it, and it's gone really wrong.
But just me and my in charge of programming, my colleague at Serieteket, we are both new. So she also took over at the same time as I did. So we were like, yeah, we can't fuck this up. But it's our third festival and everything is going great. So seems like you're doing something right.
I mean, it's too late for you now, but it's always nice when you're thinking, when you have roles like this where people do it for a period of time and then you swap out crew. I really appreciate when I go into a new role if someone previously have made a checklist. I mean, of course, you have to put your print on it, so it's not going to be copy paste. But here is a list over. This is the plumber you call when that pipe over there breaks, when the curtain doesn't work. You call this guy, and there's like just the things that nobody thinks about, but it's nice to just have in the background, and then you build your thing.
Like when the tent, we realize it's a hole in the tent where people sell their comics, and it's starting to rain inside. That's a challenge. But no, I can really recommend doing a big festival at your own workplace, because you know the house, and you know the janitor, and you know everyone.
No. I can't imagine what festival I would have at my work, but if I think of something, I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Then we can end the main episode with go visit Oslo Comic Expo this year.
Yes.
3 days in June. Comics and more.
Yes. And we also want to make it like a social happening. So we have lots of places for people to hang out. And my library building is the first building in Norway built to be a library. So it's from 1914. So it's a chill and nice atmosphere as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So then we'll see you all in June. Now we have a plan. And as Melina said, that's tomorrow.
More or less.
More or less.
The stressed dream of waking up and like, do you have a festival? No. And then just sleep on like that.
So normal people wonder what time is it, and you wake up and wonder what day is it.
Yeah. 100%.
I overslept. It's July. Damn it.
Yeah. I've had that exact dream so many times.
Overslept this July. Did the festival go well? Good.